Good day, Iris here. I hope you're all well. I'm fine, thank you very much. Or maybe a little tired. And the reason I'm tired is because I sit up till 4 o'clock in the morning watching the latest WWE pay per view, which I don't know if it should be considered a pay per view, considering how it was only available on the network. But then again, the whole network is pay per view, so maybe. Their latest big show was Night of Champions, which was only available on the network. And I have to say, kind of boring. It was kind of a boring show. I found myself a lot turning on the volume a bit and playing Candy Crunch. One or two good matches, I suppose. The main event, of course, which we'll get to, was firstly John Cena versus Seth Rollins, and then after that, whatever happened in that match, Seth Rollins versus Sting. Oh, and by the way, spoilers if you haven't watched it. I just will have spoilers. I didn't watch the pre-show. Skipped that one. The first match was for the Intercontinental Championship, and it was Ryback against Owens. Kevin Owens, he needed to win because I think he was losing. After Cena beat him, I think his stock was kind of falling down a little bit. But he beat Ryback. A little poke to the eye when the ref wasn't looking, and yeah, he got the pin. So well done to him. The tag match was the Time Guys, not called Prime Time, whatever they're called. They were against the Dudleys, and again, it was kind of boring match. It seemed like the Dudleys weren't in the best of shape, to be perfectly honest. They weren't really moving around as well. The 3D, maybe it is because of their age, it's like what they expect, but it wasn't the typical kind of run. It's kind of usually run, and then it looked more. Originally, it looked more kind of more cool, more fast. Didn't look that good, but the prime time players, whatever it's called, they won. I don't know, whatever. I don't know, whatever the tag team thing's called. Kofi Kingston's tag team. I don't know. But they won. Dudley Boys, unfortunately lost, but they did put a guy through a table, which is what the fans wanted. But again, boring match. Women's match. I just know Ric Flair's daughter. Is she daughter? I have no interest in divas anymore. Since they're not actual wrestlers, I don't really bother. But she won. I'm assuming it's Ric Flair's daughter, considering how huggy he was. Then I'll just move on to the main event. I mean, there was Dolph Ziggler against Rusev, which was okay. It was an okay match. I didn't think it was anything special, just like the rest of the pay per view. But the first match, Seth Rollins versus John Cena. And as you can expect, because he overcomes every obstacle, John Cena won. And John Cena's match was for the US Championship. He won. And, Seth Rollins tried to walk away. John Cena gave him an AA outside the ring, threw him back in, and that's how Sting match. I will say, though, that was actually a good match. Cena versus Seth Rollins, it was a good match. Seth Rollins really going, because you're expecting maybe his character wouldn't do the best, wouldn't put all in. Honestly, I was expecting him to just lie down and let John Cena beat him, because it's like, all right, just want to get it over with. That didn't happen. It was a great match. And Sting, I really like Sting. Sadly, he should have come to WWE earlier, because he's not giving him his best years, and you could tell he didn't look too great. He didn't move around too great. I mean, for his age, he looks good, but he didn't move around too great. Someone on Twitter, he lost the match, by the way, and someone on Twitter pointed out it is better though that Sting lost in spandex than won in a t-shirt, because last few weeks on Raw he's been wearing a t-shirt. And he's still been. He had a match on Raw with a t-shirt. So luckily that wasn't the case. But yeah, it wasn't his best. Wasn't his best year. Wasn't his best match. And then of course it ended with Kane coming out. He gave Seth Rollins choke slam. Sheamus was going to cash in his Money in the Bank, but he got a chokeslam as well. And that was the end of the pay-per-view. A highlight of it, believe it or not, had nothing to do with the pay-per-view. They were advertising that next month in October would be like the, I think they call it Go to Hell or something. It's all Brock Lesnar. Near the start of the month, there's going to be some Big Show Madison Square Garden. The main event's going to be Big Show versus Brock Lesnar versus Big Show. And then after that, he's going to do a Stone Cold podcast with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Hopefully, they set up something for a possible WrestleMania match. We'll see. Because that's the big thing. Because that's a big rumor going around that it's going to be, since WrestleMania is in Texas, next year it's going to be Austin versus Lesnar. Hopefully, you never know. The first seed was planted on the Stone Cold podcast with Paul Heyman. Hopefully, this will push it even more. See what happens. So yeah, and then later there's going to be a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view match or Hell in a Cell show with Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker, which is weird. I mean, it's probably a good way to sell the network if you have like these big matches only on the network. That's probably the way to do it. Some other cool stuff on the network. JBL, I was going to call him his whole name. JBL has his own kind of interview show, not a talk show, but interview show with each week he's going to have a different guest. His first one's going to be Eric Bischoff, which should be pretty cool because I don't think Bischoff has done anything for the WWE since he left. I went to TNA, did some other stuff, but now he's back on WWE. And it looks like he could be asking him, I don't think he's going to ask him like hard-hitting questions, but he could ask him the kind of questions that you wouldn't get in a normal, typical interview. So we'll see how that goes. That premieres tonight after Raw, so I'll be watching it tomorrow because Raw is over at like 4 or 5 in the morning over here, and I'm not staying up that late. So overall, Night of Champions kind of boring, I have to say. But it's on the network, and if you're paying for the network, it's probably worth the money. You get a live 3-hour show every month. So that is that. And that's it for me today. So until next time, I'm very tired. Don't even know where I'm looking at this point. Until next time, I shall say to you, have a good one.